All right, guys. So as you see right there, that was the first possession of the game for the Washington Commanders, where Jalen Daniels ran for 47 yards. Now, I do believe on that play, he kind of like injured his wrist, but I will get into more details about that. So the Washington Commanders moved to 5-2 on the season, destroying the Carolina Panthers 40-7 in the game where they led throughout the whole game, dominant throughout the whole game. The first touchdown came on a Dante Fowler 57-yard interception return for a touchdown. The Washington Commanders continued to roll through that game, and I really think that if Daniels didn't get injured, it probably got worse. He probably was going to put up a huge statistical stat tonight. So, but Marcus Mariota did come into the game, relieve him, and while he got checked out, and he did not have to return in the game. But the the Washington Commanders, they had, like I said, they held serve. They got Brian Robinson back, who scored on a touchdown. He had 71 yards rushing with 12 carries. Jeremy McNichols did pretty good. Mariota ran the ball 11 times. Excuse me, 11 times for um, 30, 34 yards. And Austin Eckler had 4 carries for 17, which the total team, they had a total of 214 yards rushing, which that's a recipe for success anytime you can rush the ball. Because you go back to the game they played Baltimore. Brian Robinson did not play in that game. And I said if Brian Robinson had played in that game against the Baltimore Ravens, I believe we would have been able to beat the Baltimore Ravens because we could run the ball a little bit more. Terry was 2 yards from 100. He had 6 catches on 6 targets for 98 yards. So he was perfect 100% on each one of his catches. Austin Eckler, Zach Ertz, he had 4 catches for 40 yards and he scored a touchdown. Same thing with Ben Sinnott, the rookie tight end. He came in and got his first touchdown as well. But the Commanders only had 2 sacks, which I feel like they should have had more than that. But they did got 2 turnovers in the game. I do believe one of them was by Emmanuel Forbes. He did get an interception on that, which it was good to see because he was in the right place at the right time. Because the pressure on Andy Dalton, he threw the ball down the middle and he was just in coverage to where he could just pick off a clean interception. It's not like he took it on some kind of different play. So, but all in all, this is what I liked about the Washington Commanders because the next 2 games they should control and they should be able to take care of the things that they need in that sense. Stat line for this game, like I said, Jayden Daniels he had 3 carries for 50 yards, and his longest was 46. It was actually 47 on that carry. And then if you look at the statistical standpoint, the Commanders did control the time of possession as always. Their total yards were 421 with 214 rushing and 207 passing. They had 26 first downs to the Panthers 10. They had the Commanders had 8 penalties, and most of them came into the red zone where they kept getting 4 starts and stuff like that, where they did not turn the ball over again, which is something that the Washington Commanders has been able to control throughout the season, is not turning the ball over because we took 2 away from them. We only gave up 1 sack. We ran 63 plays to their 43. So 20 play difference. Now, let me dive into the Jayden Daniels injury. Jayden Daniels, I think on the same drive where he ran for 47 yards and they got closer, he ran to his right, and then he stumbled down. Now, some thought it was his knee, but apparently it was a real injury. But he did to appear to be okay. He did appear to, he came back out in the second half, and he didn't show no favoritism to his rib area. He was able to hold up his hands, salute a touchdown by Mariota. He was waving to the crowd. His mom did took the X and said that he was all right. But Dan Quinn iterated after the game that they are going to run more tests on him, and just to make sure he's good to go, because, like I said, they have a huge matchup at 4 o'clock, 4:25 next Sunday, where they have to play the other rookie, Caleb Williams, who was the #1 overall pick. But all in all, I like the pass to Noah Brown. I love that De'Ami Brown got in sync a little bit. I even glad to see Ben Sinnott in the game. That's different dynamics of this offense that you're not going to be able to control. And especially if Jayden Daniels do play this game, it's going to put a lot of pressure on the Bears defense. And it would have really put a lot of pressure on the Panthers defense this game if Jayden Daniels was able to stay in it. I do believe they would have scored more. They would have scored touchdowns more than they would have had field goals. Probably would have been like 52 points in this game. So that's what on the lines I was looking at. But nevertheless, I'm glad that Jayden Daniels was taken out this game for precautionary reasons. And like I said, they will run more tests on him tomorrow to find out. But the X-rays did came back negative, so they'll see this comfort level. He's probably gonna have to get double padded, double vested, for this weekend, because the team's gonna try to hit him, and especially if they know that he got, sore ribs or whatever the case may be. So he's gonna have to be protected a little bit more than normal. And he might not need to run a little bit, but he definitely don't need to sit in the pocket and take sacks either. So if he has an opportunity to get out of the pocket, then get out the pocket and get to the sideline. And somebody on X comment on the 47-yard run, because I said the same thing. If he had, when he was cutting in and he said to cut it out, hit the sideline, he probably would have got past that defender and he would have had a clear shot. That would have been a 97-yard touchdown run. That probably would have been the second longest to RG3, or tie RG3 for the longest touchdown run from scrimmage. So I held my breath when he did that. I was like, oh my gosh, he's about to break it. So, but nevertheless, the Washington Commanders are a team on the rise. They're one of the best teams in the NFC right now. They kept themselves a game ahead of the Philadelphia Eagles, who actually won today. So that's another thing, because the Eagles right now, they are 4-2, and if Washington had lost, then it would have been a third game, and then the Eagles would have jumped them by being 5-2. So that's good. Washington still is a half a game up on them. And the Commanders are 3-0 at home so far this season. If they can make it 4 in a row, that would be, that would be good. They're 3-1 in the conference. Who they lost to in the conference? Tampa. Yeah. So they lost to Tampa. They're averaging 218 points a game. They're averaging more points than any other team in the league right now. They're averaging right now. They're out averaging Detroit with a point differential of .66. Then there's Detroit. Then there's Minnesota behind them as well. So the Commanders. Then you got Pittsburgh. Then you got Buffalo. So right now, Washington is leading. Like I said, they're leading the league in point differential, and they're the highest scoring team in the league right now. And if you look at the standings by conferences, the Chiefs is the only undefeated team. in the league, and you got Detroit 5-1, Minnesota 5-1, and you got the Commanders tied at number 2. And right now, if the playoffs was to start today, the Commanders would be the number 2 seed. The Detroit Lions would be the number 1 seed. So that's how that worked right there. So that would have been good. That's pretty good. So if they had to start the playoffs right now. And right now, Washington, with the record they have, they 4th in the league overall in the league. Kansas City first, Detroit, Minnesota, and then Washington. Then you have the Houston Texans, and then you have Pittsburgh. Even though Pittsburgh won the game against the Jets is just a bad team. But that's a team that we have to play in 3 weeks. So yeah, like I say, you got 2 teams, Green Bay and Washington, that's 5-2. You got Tampa 4-2, which they was off. No, they play tomorrow. And then you got Chicago 4-2, that was off. You got the Eagles 4-2. You got Seattle 4-3. So right now, like I say, Minnesota and Detroit is the 2 top teams, but you got to add Washington in that mix right now because they are surging. And if they get past Chicago on Sunday, and then they get past the Giants, that'll put them at 7-2. And then you never know what the 2 other top teams is. They probably will have the best record by the time they get ready to play Pittsburgh. And that'll going to show us good because then they have Pittsburgh, then they have the Eagles, then they have Dallas down the line. And then after that, I think their schedule gets a little bit easy from that point on. So, yep, they definitely do. The Commanders have the Bears. They have they have the Bears and the Giants next. Then they have the Steelers, the Eagles, the Cowboys. Then the Titans, the Saints, the Eagles, Falcons, the Cowboys. Well, guess what? The Commanders could have, I say they split with the Eagles and Dallas. That'll put 2 wins right there. So that give them, and if they sweep the Giants, so that would say 7-2. They finish out 7-2. They'd be 9-2. Most likely they'll beat the Titans. That's 10. They'll beat the Saints. That's 11. I think they'll beat the Falcons. That's 12. That's 12 wins. And I think they'll beat Pittsburgh. They get them 13 wins. That'll be a remarkable feat to have. But nevertheless, man, I think that the Washington Commanders are, like I said, they are a scary team to play for. And as long as Jayden Daniels can stay healthy, I think their chances to really do some work in the playoffs is going to be significant. I don't want to foreshadow anything because I'm going to keep it to myself. But I believe this team is special. I think this team is deadly. I think this team is very, very scary right now. And you have not seen anything from this team at the moment. Now, the defense, I have to give love to the defense today. The defense did step up. The defense did play with a chip on their shoulder. And if this defense could play like this every week and try to get after the quarterback and held down, you know what I'm saying? I'm so glad Derek Forrest back because we needed him out there. And you look at Mike Sanderson, he is getting better and better and better. And he's like really shutting down. I just don't think the receivers, like the only good receiver they have to me is DJ Moore. And DJ Moore is not going to score get 200 yards receiving on us, not this time around. See, we played y'all in Soldier Field. Now, y'all have to come to us. And it's going to be a whole different take. So, with that being said, that's the wrap-up report for this game. The Washington Commanders annihilate the sad Panthers 40-7. Poor Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton had his work cut out for him today. I mean, poor little Andy Dalton. I mean, he only had 93 yards passing. Then they brought Bryce Young in the game, and he had a -4 already. So that was in. Now, Hubbard had 52 yards rushing, but he had to carry the ball 17 times for that. Javaris Sanders, he had 61 yards receiving, and Dante Johnson had 17 yards receiving. So, like I said, 93 yards passing in a game. That's bad. And they blitzed him. They got after him. They made him uncomfortable. They chased him, made him run and everything like that. And that's the same thing that the mindset we're going to have to take next week when you play Caleb Williams. So with that being said, this is your boy LiveWire Sports Media. Continue to like, comment, subscribe anytime I drop a Watch the Commander video. And at the end of the video, you already know what I say. You know what it is.
Hey, so amazing. You see how they playing? LiveWire, it's all about sports and entertainment. You don't want to miss it, so official like you never seen. Keep it going till the whistle blowing from the referee. Everything from highlights and stats. You know that we gotta run it back, whether on the field or the court. You know that this is where it's at. Subscribe, no delaying. This is LiveWire, sports and entertainment. Let's go.